This RecTech video is designed to show you the differences between the Hilliard 4-shoe clutch with the unique spring design versus your 2-shoe or multiple shoe clutches with the garter spring or a coil type spring. One of the first big differences we see with the Hilliard clutch is the springs themselves. They're actually, and I'll put a white one up here so you can see it better, it actually is a band style spring versus a spiral wrapped coil spring, extension spring, or a garter spring that goes all the way around the shoes. As you see from the color coding here, we're going to talk about how the shoes work so well. What you have on any centrifugal clutch, as the shoe comes out and hits the outer edge of the clutch, it causes friction. Friction causes heat. When heat builds up in a shoe, as you can see by the red here in color, is the hottest spot of the clutch. On a normal 2-shoe or multiple shoe clutch that uses a coil extension spring or a garter spring, all that heat stays in the shoe itself. On the Hilliard clutch, as you can see, the heat dissipates as it works its way down the shoe towards the spring. So by the time it gets to the spring, it's relatively cool and typically about ambient temperature of what the crankshaft heat is at. Because of the unique spring design, the small edge that is actually hooked to the shoe itself is all that touches the shoe, and that only allows a certain amount of heat to dissipate into the spring. So you can run this clutch and slip this clutch a lot and get it seriously hot and not have a problem with fatiguing your springs, unlike other clutches. They make several different colors, Hilliard does, for these clutches, and what that does is that allows you to have different engagement speeds or different slippage factors. Now I'm going to go into a little more deep on this. Hilliard makes 2 style clutches. They make their standard clutch and then they make their race clutch. On their standard clutch, and I'm going to turn this one over, I'm going to install a spring here quick and turn this clutch over so you can see what it looks like normally from the outside. This is how it typically would look inside of a clutch itself. One of the unique features on the Hilliard clutch is it has an integrated keyway, and I'm going to have the cameraman zoom in on this just a minute. This integrated keyway is part of the hub itself. One of the key features of that is only part of the key is into the keyway of the crank. The rest of it is part of the hub, which causes less key rock back and forth and can cause crankshaft damage. On the normal hub, which he'll pull out here just a little ways, on the standard clutch, the hub itself is just a standard hub. On the race clutch, this same hub, except for it's heat treated for better durability on the higher horsepower engines. The shoes between the 2 clutches are the same except for the Blizzard, which has a different style shoe itself. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the differences between the standard drum and the race drum. The standard drum is a stamped steel drum. The concentricity between the shoes and the drum is not perfect. What that causes is some high and low spots in the drum. Not major, but just enough to let the shoes lose adhesion. And you can see of our mock-up here where you get a dark area where the shoe's not making full contact, in other areas it is. Now this works very well for the lawn and garden or the small yard cart application, but when we're getting into the higher horsepowers and higher RPM engines, this isn't quite the key. So this is where the Hilliard clutch shines. I'm going to get a new drum, and what we have here is the Hilliard race drum. They look alike. It is a stamped steel drum, but the key feature is it's perfectly machined. So when we have our shoes in the center, the drum has perfect concentricity to the shoes when they're expanded out. This allows us to have a better fit to the shoe to the drum. It allows us to have full surface area contact, which reduces slippage. It makes a truer drum. It makes a more efficient drum. A lot less heat is being put into the drum, and just an all-around better clutch package.